So, Josh, what do you feel right now, like for realtors that are struggling a little bit? I know you work harder than ever. You told me about that. We're talking behind the stage. But besides working hard, how much has building your personal brand and being a celebrity on TV, how much has that, because it's easy to say like work hard and learn and fire, aim, fire.
Yeah.
But you have an advantage because you're famous, you're a celebrity. So for people that are not celebrity famous, is it important for them to like grow their personal brand? And if it's going to take some time, how do they start now where they get little wins and start selling like little deals?
First of all, so that's a great question. And what he said is what I get all the time. Yeah, but you're on TV. That's why you're successful. Yeah, because people know you. They don't know me. That's why you're successful. I get that all the time. You just heard my story. I started like every single person in this room started. Okay, 0 connections, 0 money. Right now, this market is extremely difficult. I'm telling you, I lose more deals than I've ever lost right now. Closing a deal for me has become harder than it's ever been. Harder than when I was initially just in the business closing my first deal. Anything that can happen does happen in deals right now. You got to realize a couple different things. Like Neil, for instance, who was talking about marketing and branding yourself. You are your own brand. Everything you do in life reflects on you and your business, okay? Like, I didn't start by having a fancy car, but I had the smarts to say, you know what, I'm gonna pick up this person. I need to at least let them feel good because they're gonna be spending money and buying a house. I'm gonna get a car wash and put waters in the back so they feel like they're in a high-end experience in whatever car I had at the time. Listen, I bought a bunch of polyester suits to start. Like, they weren't custom suits that people spend nowadays, like $1,200. Like I told you, I got 3 suits for $300. Like, because I wanted to be the part. I had to fake it till I made it at the time. Let me tell you something. Like, you see all these fancy watches? I had the best fake watch collection you've ever seen. Yeah, I'll sit here and admit it, because now it doesn't mean anything to me, because it's you grow up and you mature, you have kids, and none of that stuff means anything. But I did what I had to do to look like my brand was successful in order to become successful. Every year, I was telling Albert this out there, every year we look at a calendar, my brother and I, and we go, okay, where are we going to go this year? And our whole goal is to surround ourselves with the type of clientele that we want to sell to, right? So we want them to look at us like we're their friends. And so when it comes to buy or sell a house, they're going to call their friend up. So we actually look at a calendar every year and we say, look, where do all the wealthy people go every year? And there's this Art Basel down in Miami, right? And you see these people spending like $1 million on a painting. Like, well, wait, if they can spend $1 million on a painting, they can spend $10 million on a house. And then you go like car shows. We collect cars, right? You go up to like Concours d'Elegance and you see these auctions and someone's bidding like $4 million on a Ferrari. You're like, well, wait, you spend $4 million on a Ferrari, they can spend $20 million on a house. Now, I'm not saying you got to go into all these fancy events. You can also stay 45 minutes away from all these events like my brother and I used to do, and then just show up to the events. You don't have to pay expensive hotels or this or that. You can stay outside of them. But we put ourselves in all of these situations, in all these events where people start recognizing us before the TV stuff. They're like, oh, that's that guy. And, we talk about things and we talk to everybody. Like I said, you never know where your next deal is going to come from. And eventually people started to look at us and like, oh, yeah, he's my friend. And next thing you know, you're going to a dinner party at their house. And next thing you know, you get their listing.
So you believe proximity is power?
100%.
So question, when I lost everything in 2008,
yeah,
I was a loan officer. I lost everything, and I was like literally homeless. So I started seeing that show Entourage. And I saw like how they got a Maserati quadruporte, and they got the S550, then they got a Ferrari, and like Ari Gold and the guys.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, you know what? Like,
we were all watching that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to stop being broke and get back because I was making money in mortgage, but it collapsed. So I went to Sotheby's here in Beverly Hills, which is like, I think it was a 9,000 building on Sunset. And there was a Sotheby's upstairs, and I went there and I said, because I saw Sotheby's in the show Entourage, and I said, well, I want to be $1 million agent. So I live in Sierra Madre, Pasadena, and Sierra Madre, Pasadena is a nice area. But I came here to Beverly Hills, and I'm like, hey, I want to be a Sotheby's agent. I'm going to be the best agent. I'm going to be $1 million agent because I figured if I make higher sales, I'm going to make more money, more commission.
Yeah.
So you know what they told me that you said right now, and I was telling my friend right now, hey, if you want to grow to another level, you got to move out of Riverside and be in Beverly Hills because there's more money in Beverly Hills. I asked you earlier, where do you make more money in Orange County or Beverly Hills? You said Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills, it's good and bad, and Newport area has good and bad.
Yeah, I would say this.
But let me finish this though.
Okay.
The guy told me, I'll hire you if you leave Sierra Madre and you move into Beverly Hills, because you have to know Beverly Hills, you have to know the corners, the areas, you have to know every detail in Beverly Hills, the bird streets, you got to know everything. So if you want me to hire you, I'll hire you because you have potential, but you have to live in the area.
It's funny you say that. So a couple of things. One, I used to be a college football kicker. I know, I'm small. I know, you don't believe me. But I was a Division I college football kicker. And we had a saying in football, you kick every ball the same. Doesn't matter the size of the deal. I'm up here talking about my story.
That's why you got legs, though.
Yeah, that's why, yes. But I'm up here talking about my story, 10 million, 20 million, this, that. It doesn't matter. A deal's a deal. Let me tell you, the top agent in Riverside, the top agent in Pasadena, they're all crushing it. Okay, I don't care if it's an $800,000 deal or a $20 million deal. I do believe that it's more about your work ethic, and I do believe that it's more about becoming an expert at what you do. Unfortunately, I think the next generation is just weak as hell. Okay, I think it's embarrassing. Everybody, they watch shows like $1 Million Listing, unfortunately, and they go, oh, I want to be a realtor so I can be rich and drive a fancy car. Like, they don't realize the 20, 25 years that it took to get there. I think that being an expert in your craft, let's say real estate, for example, understanding, and we were talking about this out there, understanding the inventory, understanding the contracts. I can't tell you how many people that try to work for us that don't even know contracts. How can you be a realtor if you don't know contracts? Take some pride in your business. Be an expert at what you do. In a lot of these businesses, you only have one shot, and there's no room for error, especially in markets like this right now. You mess up once, I can tell you there's another Josh Altman coming up behind you that's going to jack your client. There's no room for error. Take pride in your business. People see that. That's number one. Number two, like you said, you got to know the area you're in. I used to drive around. I would go to work and from work different ways every day. That was like my thing. I was like, let's find a new way to drive to work. Finding a new way to drive home after work. Because you see for me, again, it doesn't matter if you're a realtor or not, but for me it was important to see neighborhoods and houses. And that's what I did. I did it every day. Every day was a different route home, even if it took me 20 minutes more, because I got to understand more. That was just something that I did.
Yeah, and then you said something about like your first purchase if you're a realtor. What do you say for loan officer as well, or solar maybe? But if when you get your first big commission, maybe the best investment is to get a nice car, because that's unfortunately how people judge you. Like, well, can you talk more about that?
Yeah, we spoke about that out there. And listen, it depends. It depends what business you're in. If you're in a sales business where you are rolling up to people's houses, like I said, you're your own walking billboard. Unfortunately, in society, they're going to judge you by the car you roll up in. So that's the first impression without them knowing anything about you. If you're in solar and you're going up to a house, like, people do notice that stuff, especially if it's in luxury communities. For me, the most important thing, because I had people in my car that I was showing houses to. So like, I had to make sure they felt like $1 million to spend $1 million. So for me in my position, taking the first couple paychecks that I got, and I actually bought a car that was I couldn't afford at the time. Because
what do you mean by you can afford it? Like how hard of a stretch was it?
No, I mean, it was a stretch. I came up in a business. My old boss in my mortgage company said, go in debt. Get in debt, you work harder. I mean, that's a dumb rule, by the way. Don't do that. But that's how I came up. Go buy what you want, because then you have no choice. So you guys have heard my stories. I've been to the top, been to the bottom. So I can tell you now from experience.
What car was that? How much was it?
The first car was an M6 convertible. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first one. I went from the Jeep to that.
You remember the payment?
No.
No?
No. No. But,
were you ever late?
Huh?
Were you ever late?
No, I was never late, because I'm not wired that way. If I have something, I'm going to afford it.
Yeah.
And that's just how I'm wired. But not everybody's wired that way. That's okay. But become an expert in your craft. Take pride in your business. And just be so money when you're in front of somebody. If you're selling solar panels, just know everything. Know every question they're going to ask before they even ask it.
Does anybody want to ask him a question? Real estate question before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, let's do these 2 questions right here.
Okay, let's do these 2 questions and we'll wrap up.
Cool, I could probably hear you from here.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe not like the biggest deal, but what was like the hardest deal you've done?
Well, the hardest deal I did was the first deal I ever did. It was a piece of land. It was $4 million. It was up in the Bird Streets. It was a teardown. I know everything about that deal. I know that it was a 37-day close. I know the contingency period, because I needed that money like I needed air at the time, because I was broke. So that was the hardest deal that I remember everything about. But no deal is easy. And you can never have that mentality that a deal's easy, because then you get soft. I was telling them, I sit open houses every weekend because it keeps me sharp. Like, it keeps my ear to the ground. I know what people are looking for.
So you're doing open houses today?
Yeah. Well, I didn't today because I got this, but yeah.
So it cost you an open house?
But yeah.
You could have made more money in the open house.
Huh?
You could have made more money in the open house.
Who knows? I will tell you, the first 10 deals I ever closed in real estate was from sitting what I call OPP. Who's down with OPP? Yeah, you remember that song? OPP, other people's property. So when I got into the company, there was a bunch of hitters. Everybody was great except for me. And I didn't have any business. So I walked up to the biggest, baddest dude in the company. He was crushing it. And I said, listen, my name's Josh Altman. I'll sit any open house that you have. What's your worst open house that you never want to even see that house again? And he goes, oh yeah, well, this one. I go, great. Can I sit it this weekend? And he goes, absolutely. Like, a guy like that's got 50 listings. You don't have time for all that. And so the first bunch of deals I did was from sitting other people's listings. And, somebody walked in. I treated it like it was my Super Bowl, because open houses were Sunday. I used to call them Super Bowl Sunday every Sunday. And that's how I got deals, was other people's open houses. And then I had my own open house. And then I got, my first big call, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get this listing. It's $10 million. So I went up to that same dude and I said, listen to me. Show up to this meeting with me. I'll give you 50% of the deal. You never have to do anything again. He goes, why would you do that? I go, because I'm going to take this deal and I'm going to get 10 more deals off of it. But I couldn't get the deal on my own. So we roll up. First thing the guy says is, how many other $10 million listings do you have? I would have been dead in the water. I had nothing. But my co-list guy, who I brought up with me, says, oh, I have 7 in this area. Got the listing. Now I'm with the big boys. And so, I will tell you, 50% of something, 20% of something is a hell of a lot more than nothing. Don't be greedy. It comes over time. Love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. That's it.
And Josh, you have how many listings right now, active listings?
I have 147 now.
147 active listings.
Yeah, right now.
And you still do open houses.
Yeah, for sure.
So that tells you.
But I love what I do.
You love what you do.
My job is to talk to people. I get to meet people like you guys. Like, this for me is a blast. So I appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope even if you got like 1 or 2 nuggets out of the speech. Thank you very much. Thank you, brother.